Rob Grimes with the IFBTA, and today I am thrilled to have our Meet Our Member video with Comcast Business and Mary Beth Pierce, who's the Executive Director of Enterprise Sales. And they are a global industry partner, and this is a session that is long overdue because you've actually been a partner for a while. So welcome, Mary Beth.
Thanks, Rob. It's good to be here. Agreed. Long overdue.
On the industry trends, so you spend a lot of time out there, looking at the trends in the industry. Comcast Business not only has to do it two reasons. Why? Because you're growing as a company. You want to make sure you're meeting those trends. You may be acquiring some of the companies that are out there, but at the same time, you need to forecast ahead as to what the needs are going to be. So, what are the trends that you are seeing out there in the food and beverage industry, based upon the customers that you're talking to?
Yeah, I think we touched on this one earlier. I think it's an obvious one, but we are starting to see the adoption of IoT or just general automation. I think, IoT's been out there for a long time. Temperature monitoring's been out there for a long time, but really starting to do a deeper dive into everything that can be automated. And I think that's being driven a lot by the labor challenges. They're not going away. The workforce that left they've moved on to other opportunities or industries. And so how do we solve the problem of having fewer people in the restaurants? And I think you solve that with technology. You solve that by automating the tasks that you don't need a person to do, but rather need the technology, and leveraging IoT sensors to do a lot of that.
Well, I'd be clear on that one. Pre-COVID, a lot of people weren't necessarily as focused as they are on that. We've always been focused on food safety and handling, but now the customers are focused on it very much.
Great point.
And so when you're starting to tie together things like temperature monitoring, checklists, including safety or cleanliness checklists and things like that, and bringing it together and automating it, those are things that you need to have standards and consistency on.
Yes.
And so by you're bringing that to the table, I think you are also making it easier for the operator.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I think, consumers want to see the data, right? Like that. And it's a scary idea, but they want to see the health safety rating, the food safety rating. And so how do you report on that? You have to make sure you're collecting the data and acting on it.
There was something.
That's a great point.
Well, yeah, you have to bring that together and be able to do that. And so by offering that as part of a service in there, or the connectivity of IoT with devices that used to be standalone systems,
exactly,
they could communicate, but they're standalone. I think that brings it together. The other part of it that we didn't really touch on, but as you're talking about connected devices in there, and you started to touch on the idea of energy management and maybe clean power, which is becoming more and more of a challenge as all equipment, ovens included, are becoming more sensitive. But we're starting to see more and more devices within the restaurants, even by local law, having to go to electric. And so now all of a sudden you have a lot of monitoring to do, and those devices need to be connected. Is that a trend that you're starting to see of connecting in things that people didn't think of before?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we like to say the opportunities are endless of what you can monitor and report on. And our goal is to eliminate the closet creep, right? Like you talked about all these old disparate systems. You had one for temperature monitoring, maybe one for energy monitoring, one for pest control. What we try to do, we bring a solution together with a single gateway, and you just put sensors up that can all feed the data to that gateway, and aggregate it into, the platform of your choice for use. It's an interesting point on the energy. I think we'll see that more and more also is just a focus on, sustainability initiatives continues to be a top priority for companies.
Well, you also get a lot of power over the internet as well. And so that is a new thing that they bring to the drive-throughs. They bring it all across, and since you're doing site prep, you're doing site preparation, you're monitoring the technologies, you're going to end up having the central control, point of being able to give messaging. And I'm going to guess, by the way, that you must have your own tools or partners that have tools that can give a person advance warning and notification, when they need to consider maintenance pieces or when they have power pieces or safety and security, or they're not, checking up on the restroom as much as they should, that you're helping to do that job.
Right, that's it. Right. And it's through partnerships that we, it's a solution meant to be proactive, not reactive. So through partnerships, reporting on that to say, hey, the sensor detects the refrigerator's turned off. And so then it's okay, call in a trouble ticket, get somebody out there quickly to get that refrigerator serviced before you
before
lose
it breaks.
thousands of dollars of food. Correct. Yeah. And what's fantastic is it's all low power, right? And so if we look at an example, large beverage coffee chain that we partner with, when their Florida restaurants were hit hard by a hurricane, power was out, nobody could get to the stores, but the sensors were continuing to report on the temperatures in the restaurant. And so the employees could go back in once it was safe, and they knew if the food was spoiled. They knew how long the refrigerators were off. They never would have had that capability prior to the deployment of the solution, and they would have had to throw all that out of abundance.
And the reason why you were able to do that is because you're not one central communications point.
Correct.
You offer multiple ones.
Correct.
And that's why you could do it when the power was out.
Absolutely. Yep.
Which I think should not be overlooked, because, not only would that happen in a disaster situation, but remote locations, can't all have, that kind of connectivity all the time.
Right.
This has been a real pleasure as the IFPTA to not do a new member video, but to do a member video of Comcast Business, our global industry partner member. And it's been a pleasure having Mary Beth Pierce, the Executive Director of Enterprise Sales, with us today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate the time and the partnership as always.